All right, so this is the month of February 2020, and I have something that's really cool for this year, and I think for many more years to come for myself. It's called the Smolder Acoustic Overdrive by Fender. Let me get a picture of that. So the reason why I chose this because I'm primarily an acoustic player, but what is it? I play in church. I, I enjoy a lot of that kind of church, modern, contemporary worship music. But the thing is, with my setup and uh, I don't really have a band at church, so it's just basically me and a cajon player. So we're just a duo, really. But I like to, during the intro or instrumental sections, I like to, add like a little kind of like riff, solo, melody kind of thing. But it's kind of hard to do that with just an acoustic guitar because trying to like stand out, during those sections. But that's where this comes in. So this is perfect for, those kind of situations. And the thing is like, an acoustic overdrive. Well, it's pretty cool. So let me just kind of go over these knobs. Okay, let me try to get better lighting. Sorry guys about this. But let's start from here. So we have what we call pickup compensation. So depending on what kind of guitar you have, whether it be a steel string, uh, piezo, or steel string with a sound hole magnetic pickup, you kind of turn the knob to like where it sounds good to you. Where you might have feedback. You turn this, it'll take away the feedback and smooth out the frequencies. So it makes it sound more like an electric guitar pickup, which is great. But what's also great about this pedal, it takes any guitar well. Uh, Steel string acoustic, passive, active, pickups, um, even nylon string. And I'll demonstrate that also. Plus, they say this may also makes a great pedal for even electric guitars. Okay, so what we have here is we have the bass and treble. So they say that there is like a built-in preamp model of a Fender, I think, Deluxe Reverb kind of, or just Fender Deluxe, yeah, without the reverb obviously, but it has a bass and a treble control, and then it has a tone control. This tone control is, you know how acoustic guitar pickups, they can have really high frequencies. Well, you don't really want that in your overdrive necessarily because it's harsh. So you can turn this knob so it fits all the way down. Then you're cutting out all those high frequencies. But if you want to kind of bring them back in, you can by turning the knob. Okay. Also, in this bottom row we have uh, the level of the overdrive. We have we'll talk about this later. We have the drive and level. That's the typical thing on an overdrive pedal, right? And we have a blend knob, so all the way, I guess, all the way down, you just have your dry acoustic signal, and all the way, you know, this way, you have your blend signal or your electric guitar signal. So if you want to make it your acoustic sound completely like electric, you can do that, or you can kind of mix both. And I like to kind of mix both. Okay. So in the next, examples, I'm gonna kind of show you how I set up my sounds for usually mainly for like that church music style. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the Fender Smolder Acoustic using a Yamaha steel string guitar. It has a passive piezo pickup. Think later on I will show you with the guitar that has an active piezo pickup and how that sounds. Okay, so if you look at these knobs, I have the pickup compensation right around 11 o'clock. The bass and treble, generally, I like to kind of turn them up. Um, the tone, I have it right in the middle. Also, the level, I jack it all the way up. And then the drive, I have it probably 1 o'clock. And I have the blend knob a little less than 50%. Probably also 11 o'clock. So when you use a blend control, when you're kind of like 50-50, you kind of want to turn the level all the way up for the overdrive, because then I tend to notice there's not enough drive for the the sound. So usually at the level you want to kind of jack it all the way up. So let's try this guitar or this sound bypass. Okay, this is how it sounds. Okay, now let's turn it on. By the way, this switch is very hard to turn on like this, so I use two-hand operation. All right, now with the smolder acoustic turned on. And what's kind of cool is, with this overdrive, it's very touch sensitive, so you play softer, play soft, right, which is nice, and then when you dig in, you get that overdrive, which is very great. Alright, so here's a little example from a song called At Your Name. Here's like a little intro section part. So as you can tell, when you do the quiet first part as I did in the end, it cleans up nicely. Alright? But when you do like a little solo intro kind of thing, it brings it out, which is nice. Because I can't really do that just by the acoustic alone. That's why this is very, very useful in that kind of situations. Alright, so next I'm going to use a guitar that has a piezo active pickup in it. Alright, so before I go on to using a active piezo pickup, I'm actually going to use, I actually have this Fishman soundhole pickup that's also a humbucker that I got from, by the way, the awesome guys at Grayson's Toontown. Check them out, Grayson's Toontown. But I had to adjust the knobs, obviously, because this pickup is pretty quiet compared to the piezo. So what I did was actually, because it's magnetic pickup, I turned off the pickup compensation, because that's really more for like the piezo pickup I tend to notice. And since the frequency on the magnetic pickups, has a lot less highs compared to the piezo pickup. On the magnetic, there's less highs. So this tone knob, I brought it up to kind of bring in those higher frequencies. The bass treble, keep that the same. The level of the overdrive, same. I have also the blend is same at 1 o'clock. The drive, you have to kind of jack it up a bit, because again, this is a very low output pickup, so to get a nice kind of like, compressed overdrive, like, you gotta kind of bring it up a bit. So this is how using a magnetic soundhole pickup sounds like through the smolder acoustic overdrive. So overall, even with the drive turned up, it's still pretty smooth sounding. But if you just use this acoustic pickup by itself, you really get almost no sounds. Look, I'll just turn the blend knob all the way just to the dry magnetic pickup signal, and it's not loud. It's almost non-existent. So that's what I have to work with. But if I turn it back up to 1 o'clock, I get, pretty nice sounding rhythmic kind of thing, But I can still do some of those riff solo kind of stuff with, this setup. So there you go. That's another, great way you can use this pedal even with a not so, loud sounding pickup. Alright, so this setup, what we're doing is we're using, well, we're not using that magnetic pickup. See, what we're doing is we're using this Seagull guitar that has an active piezo pickup. Okay? So when you use an active piezo pickup, you're gonna get even more of those highs, So for the pickup compensation, I had to kind of turn it up a bit. So now it's like 1, 2 o'clock. The treble, I actually turned down a little bit because it was a little too harsh. Same with the tone knob. Turned down a smidge. Of course, level is always the same. Pickup blend is a little more on the electric side now. It's out like 1 o'clock. And the drive is around 2 o'clock. So this is how it sounds with on G chord. That's how I get, pretty pleasant sound. So that's the thing about this overdrive. It's, you're not going to get high gain or anything, but you're going to get like, medium overdrive to maybe you can kind of push it a little bit. But, it's just to kind of add a little round out the acoustic sound, a bit. That's what's really meant for. So I'm going to do something that, kind of has to do with like octave sounds like this. Okay, so here we go. Oh, I think I forgot to mention, I'm actually plugged into a Roland Cube Street, so essentially it's like an acoustic guitar amp / PA kind of thing. So yeah, this is mainly meant to be used through a PA or like an acoustic amp type of situation, right? So I'm not gonna press the button, but if I turn this all the way down to just the piezo, guitar sound, if I try to do this octave thing, you're just not gonna get the same kind of drive, right? If I play it all together, it sounds okay that way. But if I want, like that drive, I just can't get that just by the guitar alone. That's why this is pretty exciting to use, It's like if I want to get those little kind of intros and outros and stuff sounding, really, really cool. Awesome. Alright, next I'm gonna try through a nylon string guitar, which is very exciting. Alright, so this time we're talking about the Fender smolder acoustic through a nylon string guitar, which is very insane, right? So there's two things I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how this sounds just completely on the electric side, which is always kind of funny, you know, especially trying to get a nylon string sound electric. It's convincing. You'll see how it sounds. I'll talk more about that later. And then the second thing is I want to see how, you know, this would sound just making, you know, sound more like a nylon string, but kind of like giving that nylon string a little more rounder, fuller sound, which is nice. So first, let's see how this sounds just purely as an electric guitar. It's funny. Alright, so some power chords. Feels so weird on announcing power chords and stuff, but what's coming out from the speaker is pretty convincing. Alright, let's try full chords. See what that sounds like. So, you know, what's very interesting is you get that smooth overdrive sound, but you notice like on the high string, it still sounds like a nylon string, doesn't it? Has that nylon string snap. So, you know, this pedal doesn't like make your nylon string sound like completely like an electric guitar. It'll give you that electric guitar distortion sound. But the thing is, it's not like one of those like guitar modeler type stuff where like the Variax. It's not that. So if you get nylon string, it still sounds like a nylon string like on the high string. But you still can get like a nice distortion sound. Like if you try to do this on a regular overdrive pedal, you can't get this. So if you, you know, want to do something like this. That's pretty amazing. But you can kind of tell it doesn't quite have that like, you know, metal string kind of sound, because it's not. It's a nylon string. But it sounds pretty convincing as just on the electric guitar side, isn't it? Right. So now let's turn the blend knob all the way to not all the way, but kind of more on the acoustic side, so probably like 10 o'clock. So, sounds like this. Definitely sounds, you know, nylon stringy, right? But, if I were to turn it all the way down, just so you only get the nylon string sound, this is what it sounds like. Not bad. But it's the typical plugged-in piezo nylon string sound, isn't it? So, you know, it sounds kind of quacky. But if I turn it to like around, again, like around 10 o'clock-ish, you know, it kind of fills in that gap of the mid-range, isn't it? Turn down the drive a little bit, just a little bit, and then here I'll try something more like a ballad type of thing. It'll get you a nice big rich sound. So I'll try first with just purely the piezo side. the blend up to 10 o'clock. Let's see what that sounds like. So you can see it, tell, especially mid-range, it really brings it out. It makes a much fuller sound. So even for like the basic, like basically we're talking about just the classical stuff, this thing works really well. It actually makes, this is actually the $300 guitar makes sound a lot better, doesn't it? It's really warm. See how it does with like the more high end, like the stuff that's more treble-y. Now I'll go back to the piezo. Alright, and then turn it up to 10 o'clock again. Seems like the sweet spot. It's amazing. It is amazing. So this pedal works great with nylon string. I mean, this is awesome. It's steel string, passive, piezo, and you can throw anything at this thing. Finally, the last thing I'll show you is how this sounds through an electric guitar. Alright. Alright, finally, I want to show what this acoustic overdrive sounds through an electric guitar. Now, if you've ever seen any like YouTube videos about this guitar pedal, they say, oh, like a added benefit is you could also use an electric guitar through this. It's just a happy accident. It's because it has a cab simulator, everything. It has the model of a preamp, a Fender Deluxe preamp, I guess. And yeah, so I don't have anything set up right now, but you can use your pedal board through this and plug it directly into a PA, an acoustic amp. If you don't, so if you don't have an electric guitar amp, you could do so and get some pretty good results. However, I don't have a pedal board with me, so I'm just plugging this directly into the Rolling Cube Street. But I just want to kind of show you how good this electric guitar sounds with like the overdrive sounds and the settings I have. So, by the way, this is a Reverend guitar. I'm not sure what the model is, but I'm using this neck pickup right here. It's like a wannabe like Gretsch type pickup. So the pickup compensation, I have it kind of up. Let's turn it down, because usually they use pickup compensation for the piezo pickups. Let's see how it sounds. Let's turn it back up. So I have it on because I don't necessarily want the sound to be like fully loud. So I don't know, there's something about this. It's a little too woofy for my sound. So that's why I have it up. Okay, tone is about 12 o'clock. I have the guitar more on the blend, more on the electric guitar side, like 1 o'clock. I have the drive up to 2 o'clock, and levels maxed out. so you can see it. That's what it is. Alright, so I'll try a couple of different riffs like this. Pretty good. Alright, let's try something else. I'm not really soloist type of guy where I play lines, but here, I'll try. Yeah, I gotta work on the solo chops, huh? Yeah. Sorry, I can't demonstrate that too well. Anyways, like I said, I'm more, a rhythm guitarist that likes to do some of those like riff type stuff. Okay, so please excuse me. It sounds great though, right? Again, this is more for a rhythm thing. Let's see if we can get more of a solo type sound. Let's jack up that drive. Alright. So I'm gonna try the Star Spangled Banner and see how that sounds. Okay. So we're gonna have to smooth out the sound. I'm gonna kind of turn the tone knob a little down. A little better. Maybe turn down the treble a little bit. It's a little too treble. Let's pick up competition there. Now it's a little too woofy. That's kind of adjust it. Alright, so just a little. That sounds good. So yeah, you can turn up the drive. You can get like a solo type sound. Yeah. So playing's not great, but you get the idea, right? I guess you turn up the drive all the way, you can get a solo type sound. Although, I guess if you wanted to do a solo, I guess you could add probably a boost pedal before this overdrive and get the same thing, So, yeah, there you go. I'll get my final conclusions now. Okay, so in conclusion, if you're here, watching all the videos, you can tell this is a very versatile pedal. Now, obviously, it's meant mainly for an acoustic guitar, but the thing is, it's like you could use it for any type of acoustic guitar. steel string, nylon string, a type of piezo, magnetic, sound hole pickups. Um, it's very convincing, the overdrives. And obviously, it's not really meant for, how should I say, if you're using the acoustic guitar, it's not really meant to do a lot of like high gain. I mean, you could always turn up the drive all the way up, and you can get pretty good amount of drive. Um, but with an acoustic guitar, I noticed that it gets a little too fizzy, even with all like these pickup compensation controls and all. So it's really not meant for that, in my opinion. But the drive, if you like turn it up to like maybe at most like 3 o'clock, you can get like pretty much a lot of the uses that you need. I think for me, more primarily you know classic guitar plus I play a lot of like church music and stuff like that. This is it's a godsend. Um, because now, with my small setup that I have at church, I can get more convincing sounds when I do those intros and outros and stuff. Before I couldn't really do that, but this is great, you know. And I really like this. Oh, it has LEDs, which is nice. Uh, I really like this also for the nylon string. I really love how it like kind of thickens up the tone, especially when you plug in a nylon string. Now, obviously, having like a nice, good nylon string that you mic up, nothing quite beats that. But if you have a piezo pickup, your nylon string guitar, it really makes it sound great. It makes your guitar sound better than it should sound, to be honest with you, which is great. And also on the nylon string, the electric guitar sounds are pretty convincing. It's not the greatest, but it's definitely not bad by any means. And obviously on the electric guitar, when you play the electric guitar, it sounds good too. And it's great for, again, the electric guitar if you can't plug into an electric guitar amp. And like, again, this pedal is like the pedal meant for like the church situation, okay? Because when you're at church, like, they don't want a loud stage volume. So forget about plugging into an actual electric guitar amp. You're gonna probably have to like just plug in directly into the mixer and then hear stuff through the monitor wedges. And this will get it done. This will give you your electric guitar tone sound convincing enough to, yeah, so that's, this is good for the church gig, or if you want a quiet stage, and also if you're kind of a solo guitarist, just think about adding some sound, This is amazing. I will be using this uh, every week for sure. So I can't recommend this enough. Please go out and buy it. And it's very cheap. It's not cheap, but considering the amount of stuff it does with the amount of different guitars, this is amazing. It's only $150. I mean, if you can't afford like a Line 6 Helix, that kind of stuff, those are really expensive. But this will give you the cab simulation and be able to use almost any instrument you want for $150. So I highly recommend it.